Hey there YouTube, today I'm here to take a look at a few prepping slash survival books that I own. It's always nice to read up on various information. I mean, I know you can get a lot of it online now, but I do like to have the books that you can just browse through whenever you want to help you out, brush up on some tips. Now, I've always been a fan of Mears. I've got quite a few of his DVDs, so I got 2 of his books. This Outdoor Survival book, which is quite nice. There are no photographs in it, it's all illustrated, but it goes over the basics for you. See here, just showing you personal kit that you could take with you, different forms of cover, tools, navigation. I won't go through every page obviously, but it's a really good and interesting read. More on the sort of bushcraft side, but I do quite like that. I think Mears' approach has always been more to kind of comfortably live in the wild rather than survive like sort of Bear Grylls goes for. It goes through the seasons and different things you can do each season. Then you've got the Essential Bushcraft book, which I like even more actually. It's smaller and more compact, and it's got photographs in, which I just find them more useful than illustrations, because it's obviously closer to how the things look in real life, especially when it comes to plants and things. I can never really recognise anything from illustrations, so it's far better having photographs, I think. Now the last Mears book I showed you really sort of focused on the UK, whereas this one, it is all about survival in various different places in the world, not just England. So if you're going travelling, this would be more of a one to buy and look through. Once again, it goes through kit and things you can do. Now, a lot of these books may end up covering the same basics, but it is nice to see it in different forms. Next here I've got this Ultimate Survival book published by Hermes House, and I've got a few books of theirs in this kind of format, which I do enjoy because they're very easy to go through. You know, it's all laid out in kind of layman's terms. They've got quite a lot of pictures and things going along with the information, so it's really easy to follow. I know this is just basic survival in kind of any given situation. That goes through equipment, shelter, tools. And it's not just about surviving outside. I mean, there's a bushcraft section, but there's also a section on urban survival, survival when travelling and on holiday. So it covers a lot of different aspects that you may need in your day-to-day life. It's nothing too extreme either. It's not like surviving the end of the world. It is actual sort of realistic situations that could happen if the worst comes to the worst. Now it's got, as I said, it's got a bit here on sort of bushcraft and making tools and tracking animals and that. Then if you go through it, I think it's this section here, you know, self-defense in urban areas. And it gives you some basics on that. Things you can sort of practice at home with a friend or whatever, as long as you're careful. Survival in the home. About guarding against burglars and how to make your home safer from catching fire and things like that as well. Floods, dealing with those. Here we go, surviving on the move, or if you're on holiday, travelling. Even in car journeys, I think it's got a section on. So there's really a lot in this book, but as I say, it is all sort of set out in layman's terms, so it's nothing too heavy. A bit about terrorism and things. So I really do enjoy this book. I remember I got it off of one of my exes. Her brother got it for his birthday and he didn't want it, so he gave it to me, knowing that I was into this sort of thing. Got on first aid at the back there. And then the second book I've got in this kind of series and format is one that's specifically about camping and hiking and travelling. Now some of the information in this is the same as in the Ultimate Survival book, even down to the illustrations, the pictures used, the photographs, sorry, next to it. But this is focusing more on just if you're, going camping and things, obviously, and outdoor activities. But also, one section in this which I appreciated was the bit on physical fitness, and I'll go more into that in a minute. But obviously, if you are going to be going out and doing a lot of outdoor activities, you're going to need to get yourself fit, and especially, even more so, if you're interested in survival and prepping. I'm going to close the wear, more on equipment. Now, I think this section here is pretty much straight taken out of the Ultimate Survival book. It has this same pages with the same pictures here. Basics on the kit. I mean, yeah, a lot of these books do go over the same kind of thing, but sometimes I think that helps to kind of drum it into you if you're reading it in different ways in different books rather than just one all the time. I do think that helps you. It helps it to sink in a bit more. And some books are going to sort of connect with you more than others. There's a bit here on you've got walking, cycling, kayaking sections. So it really covers everything that you'd need to know. Knots, which I'm rubbish at. Nutrition and food, another really great thing to have in a survival and outdoor book. Something that's maybe underappreciated as well. This is the diet that you're having that's going to be best for you in terms of energy and health for what you're doing, and then cooking it. There's even some recipes in here. I don't think I've actually taken them notice of these recipes in here before. I might have to go through some of them. First aid, obviously, as well. And then the last book I have in that series is fitness training, which, as I was sort of alluding to earlier, if you're into survivalism, prepping, whatever you want to call it, I think it's like a ripple effect where you start from the centre and work your way out. Now, what's at the centre? Your body, your physical being. There's no point prepping for a zombie apocalypse or whatever if you're then gonna, die in your 60s because of your poor diet and health. I mean, that's if you're all about survival, well, that's where you need to start. The biggest threat to your life is potentially going to come from within, not exterior forces like terrorist attacks or the weather or whatever. But if you're not eating well and exercising, and your arteries clog up and your heart fails you, then you haven't done enough to prep for survival. Now this is as with those other ones, it's sort of just basic, simple guide to keeping fit, different ways to keep fit. It's not all about going to the gym and lifting weights or whatever, but it shows you sort of other things you can do just for cardiovascular exercises to eat stuff you can simply do at home. And I've got an even better book than this on if you're just interested in weight training, which I'm going to include here as well quickly, which is a really great book. But as you go, you can see it's all laid out in the same sort of format as those last two. Showing you different exercises. Now these books are usually relatively cheap as well. You can find them in kind of discount stores. These are Hermes House books. They are. Now my last one where I'll go on about fitness is this one. This was pretty cheap as well off of Amazon. I don't know if they still are. This is a great book for if you do want to get into kind of weight training and that. And not necessarily to be some kind of hulking Superman, but just to get lean and healthier. This really is a great book because it's not too text intensive. It's only a little bit of text really, but it still shows you in such great detail and gives you a lot of information on what you're doing with the different exercises and how which muscles it's affecting and how it's affecting them. And it shows you all the basic exercises for different areas of the body. This section here is focusing on arms, and then as we go through, got shoulders here. And it shows you different shoulders exercises, some with free weights and some with machines. So depends, if you've just got some gear at home that you're exercising with, there's enough exercises in here that don't require the resistance machines. But if you've got a gym membership, then this would pretty much cover all your bases, your chest now. And then there's another section for the back and legs. just as good for men or women as well, and you know, if you want to get abs and things. So really great little book that. Then I have this, How to Build the Perfect Survival Kit. I'll just focus in on that. Now, as I keep saying, I do like these books to be relatively simple to follow. It may make me sound a bit stupid, but I just find them more enjoyable to go through. I think most people probably do, really. You don't need to do heavy, do you? But this goes through the basics here. And this has got some, like, each section focuses on different survival kits. You know, there's one section about making a survival kit for your car, one for making a survival kit for if you go out boating or rafting or whatever a lot, one for a, you know, a camping survival kit. So it really covers all the basics here. There's sort of a kit list at the back you can go through. But then each section focuses more, it gives you more detail on each survival kit and shows you photographs of them. So you've got a truck survival kit, different size survival kits for whatever you might need. Medical section there. There's a section on knives and tools. So if you just want to look through a way, I mean, the other books, they focus on actual, you know, things to do while you're out camping or traveling or whatever. This really is focusing on the kit itself. So if you want a guide on, you know, all the different bits of kit you can get and the different types of bags and things you can get and the sizes of kits, and so that you can look through and kind of pick out which would be best for you and the situations you think you're going to be in and the vehicles that you have that you're going to be on. This is a really great book for that. Now lastly, I've got these little Collins Gems guidebooks. Now I've got the SAS Survival Guide. Everyone knows this. If you're into prepping or whatever, you'll have seen this in some shape or form. It's been released in various different formats. But I like this pocket guide, and the thing about pocket guides is, obviously, they fit in your pocket. You know, you can take it with you. You could bung one of these in your bug out bag, have one you keep in your car, you know, stick one in a emergency, like, survival vest if you've got one. And I know some people might say, well, you know, you should know all this, but does anyone really know every single bit of information? Unless you've been really trained, if you've been to survival courses or in the military, you know, we're all going to forget something, especially in a panic situation, or if you've got other people with you who are shouting and screaming in your ear or whatever, you're upset, you're going to forget things. I think it's really handy to have it all written down in front of you that you can go through. Now, because it's condensed, it is very text heavy. But also, if you've got any downtime, if you're out camping or if you did have to bug out for whatever reason, there's going to be times where you know, don't have anything better to do. There's no more, you know, no DVDs or internet or whatever with you. So it doesn't hurt to have a book with you just to sit there and browse through. And why not have a book that's actually going to be useful to you? As well as the SAS Survival Guide, I've got just a more generic disaster survival book. But because it was only cheap, I thought I might as well pick it up when I saw it. Now this is more in the same vein as those books I showed you earlier, those 3 books, where there's a lot more pictures here. It's a lot more in kind of layman's terms. And it's basically the same kind of thing as we saw in those books, but in a more condensed, you know, in a smaller format. And then lastly, Food for Free, which is a guide to edible plants in the UK. Now you can get these in America as well, which obviously will have different plants and trees and things in it. This is really handy. The only thing with this is I wish they had more photographs and less illustrations, because as I said earlier, I don't tend to do well with illustrations when I'm trying to look for the real thing. You know, I don't think you can beat a photograph when it comes to that sort of thing. And if you're going to be eating plants, you really want to be sure you're eating the right stuff and you're not going to be poisoning yourself. It does have quite a few photos, but there seem to be more illustrations than photographs. But still, it's better than nothing to help you out. Well, that was my look at the sort of survival and preparedness books I own. I did own a few more, but you know, there's only so many books on the same subject you need, so I've put the rest of them up for sale on eBay. These are my favourite ones that I feel cover all the basics that I'd need and are set out in a way that I enjoy. So hopefully you enjoyed, and it's maybe giving you some tips on books that you might buy for yourself. Especially if you're new to prepping, I think buying books like this can be really useful. I mean, I haven't actually looked through a lot of these books for a couple of years now because I just haven't needed to. But when I was starting out, it was really interesting going through this stuff, and it helped me out deciding what sort of equipment I needed, and gave me tips on what to do when I did go travelling and when I've been out camping and that. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.